Well, we started off with a recap of all the previous meetings to get everybody up to speed and kind of a refresher of what we've gone through in the past and our current situation again and what we need for the future. After that, we brought up a few different options, mainly the Vader, which had to be voter approved, and we got some of the benefits and some of the risks of that for Mr. Solis. So it was great information to have. After that, we broke out into groups and we started going over some of the ideas that had been presented in the previous meetings and at the current meeting. Each group was asked to have their own recommendations, and it was very refreshing to see that pretty much every table had about the same idea, and some of those were the Vader, because the way Mr. Solis presented it to us, it made sense for the taxpayer and for the district. So the taxpayer would still get their savings that they were receiving from the bond the voter approval that might happen on November 4th. So that was great. And some of the rezoning, also we went over some of the healthcare options that we might have and might present to the board also. So a lot of great ideas today that was shared, and again, a lot of commonality between every group.
So last question, what are you hoping comes out of this meeting? I mean, people shared the recommendations. What's next?
I'm hoping we can finalize maybe the top 3 priorities, and then we can present that to the board and make that a priority and easy to digest, and something that not only the taxpayer but the board, the staff, the teachers, everybody can really rally behind and understand that, hey, we're doing great. You know, we're not out of the woods yet, but we're heading towards a great position, and with the community's help, we can get there faster.
You know, today we had some very good discussion from the committee on ways that the district could improve revenue, cut costs, and basically improve the efficiencies of the district. And what I was most, I think, encouraged by was there was a lot of commonality in the discussion that the different committee groups had. We were broken down into different tables, and I was, I guess heartwarmed just to see how a lot of the tables had very similar ideas. Some tables went off on certain tangents here or there, but by and by, most of the tables really were focused on the same broader concepts. And I'm excited about that because I know that this committee is going to be able to bring a cohesive plan to the board to look at in a couple of weeks, and then the board will be able to decide what's going to be best for the district.
So we had the tabletop discussion, obviously, the table discussion. What stood out for you? What were some of the suggestions that you thought, oh, that's a good idea?
Definitely, the one that surprised me the most was the idea of moving the early college back to the campuses. That was one I was not suspecting, but it was one that I saw discussed on many different tables today. And so that's one, well, I hadn't thought of that, but I think they had some very valid points why they brought that up. The idea of beginning discussions on consolidating campuses, even though no action will be taken, just how do we engage the community to begin having those discussions so there are no hurt feelings if that needs to happen down the road. The idea of the Vader, and I was, the idea of being able to bring, almost $50 million more dollars to the district without costing the taxpayers any money. Heck, if somebody could come up to me and say, hey, I'll give you $50 and it won't cost you any money, I'd probably take them up on it. But, for the district, $50 million, and not going to cost the taxpayers any money. I think the biggest challenge will be, how do you communicate something that seems like it's too good of a deal? It's almost too good to be true is what the taxpayers are going to think. How do you communicate that so the taxpayers can see it's really real, it really is going to happen, and it's not going to impact them? And so I'm excited about that because that's going to bring additional funds in. And I know with that money, if it's used in the correct way, or in a good way, such as rebuilding the fund balance, that it's going to position the district to really spring forward the next couple of years. So I know we're in a great position, and we're going to be in an even better position if the taxpayers approve the Vader.